Hey besties, you got your snack? Let me show you mine. That's right, baby. I'm sitting here at one of the bougiest spas in New York. I got my feet soaking, I'm sipping on champagne. I just got the greatest massage in the world, and my face is glowing from the facial I just had. Is this not the soft life that I've been praying for? You know what? I'm taking y'all with me every step because this right here is you guys. So as I'm sitting here sipping on my champagne, I'm gonna give you guys a story time. So since I'm in New York, I'm gonna do the submission that actually happened in New York. So this girl went to New York for a weekend, just like a quick little mini vacation. So of course she's in New York and she's clubbing and stuff like that. So one night she went to the club and she's coming back from the club. It was about 2:30 in the morning, right? And as she's walking back home, she's a little drunk. Like she's pretty drunk, but not like OD drunk. So she sees this girl standing by a lamppost, and she looks about 19 to 20 years old. And as she got closer, she realized the girl, like, her makeup was smudged, her heels was broken, her clothes was messed up, and she looked like she'd been crying. She just looked very lost. And so she walks up to her and she's like, "Hey, honey, like, are you okay? What happened?" And so the girl didn't really say much. She just started to cry. And the girl that we're talking about that visited, let's call her Mel. So Mel is basically like, "Honey, let's get you some help. Like, let's go call 911. Let's get you to a hospital, like something. Like, do you need a lift somewhere? I'll pay for it." And all the girl said was, "I don't know what's happening." So Mel is like, "Oh, that baby probably pretty drunk. Something bad probably happened to her." So she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna call the cops and we're gonna get you some help." And so she picks up her phone and she dials 911. She puts it to her ear and she looked back and the girl was gone. She was so shook, y'all, that she didn't know what to do. She just ran back to her hotel, went to the front desk, and tried to tell them, like, there's a girl out there that needs help, but, like, she disappeared. But they brushed her off because she was drunk. So at this point, like, she don't really know what to do. Like, she can't even make of what just happened to her. At first, she tried to blame it on her being drunk, right? So that's what made her give her some kind of peace of mind. So she was just like, "Okay, I'm tweaking right now. Like, maybe somebody spiked my drink or something. I'm gonna go upstairs and I'm gonna go to sleep." So that's what she did. She went up to her room and she went to sleep. When she woke up the next day, that's the first thing she thought about. Like, she just kept thinking about that. But, you know, she still had plans in New York City. So she got herself together, she went downstairs, and she started to, you know, explore the city. And as she's exploring the city, she sees a missing person's picture on one of the doors or poles, and it's that exact same girl that she saw last night. And apparently, she had been missing for 3 months. Police suspect sex trafficking, but they ultimately don't really have an answer because she was never found. And she tried to tell people, like, she tried to tell the authorities, but there's nothing to really prove because, like, she sounds crazy. She saw the girl and the girl just disappeared. So nobody really took her serious. She says that till this day, this kind of haunts her because she doesn't know if it was the actual girl or that the girl passed away and she saw her ghost or something. All that she knows is that she spoke to that girl. She saw her. She wasn't crazy. What do you guys think? Comment down below what y'all think actually happened. Also, don't forget to click the link in my bio and get my ebook. Okay, bye. Ooh, I can't wait to take y'all on this journey. Oh my gosh. Hey y'all, so I can't sleep. It's 2 in the morning where I am. It's 2:30 actually. But since I can't sleep, let's do story time. So you can go get a snack if you want to. But if you are, make it healthy, okay? I was just eating some grapes, so make it something like fruits or something. So this is actually a story that my grandmother told me like a really long time ago, and I just remembered it for some reason. So her auntie had told her about this story when she was younger. So basically, there was this girl whose cousin had passed away. Now, before the cousin passed away, the cousin kept saying that he felt something on his chest as if someone is sitting on him. And he just kept complaining about that for a few days, and then he just like passed away. Anyways, fast forward, it's the day of the cousin's funeral. Now this girl, let's call her Maria. So the cousin that passed away is Maria's cousin. Anyway, Maria is at the funeral. And some Asians believe that you're not supposed to laugh at a funeral. Obviously, if it's like memories about the person being spoken about, you could laugh. But not like in a rude, disrespectful way, which is exactly what Maria did. Her and her cousin weren't really close, but she was like that bratty child that really just wanted to do whatever they wanted. And so she laughed for her first time at the funeral. And then one of the elders warned her and was like, hey, please don't be rude. Like, you're not supposed to be laughing. We're at a funeral. She's like, oh my gosh, you elders and your superstitions. Now I can't laugh. I can't laugh because somebody died. And so she like mocks it and starts laughing even louder to try and prove a point. Long story short, they ended up having to escort her out because she was being like completely disrespectful. And all of the elders were just kind of looking at her like, all right, we saying that for your own good, but whatever. Anyways, that night, everybody went home, The repast happened, the family got together, and then everybody separated. The next morning, they go to get Maria to go eat breakfast, except Maria is not in her room. Now, they watched her go to her room the night before to go to sleep, but she's not in her room anymore. And so everybody started looking all over for her. Y'all, they end up finding her on the roof, standing barefoot on the edge of the roof. And she was just standing there. She wasn't jumping. She wasn't saying anything. She was just standing there, staring into space. They believe that she was standing on their roof all night at that exact same spot, because even after they got her off, like, you could see the marks on her feet, because houses in Haiti are made of bricks. So they managed to, get her off the roof, get her off of the ledge. And long story short, Maria, I believe she's still alive now, but at the time my grandma told me the story, she was still alive. She just never spoke again, like never spoke. She eats, she bathes, she does certain things. She just does not speak. But everybody kind of knew why that happened, because she laughed at the funeral. Now, if you haven't gotten my ebook yet, I don't know what to tell you. I have 2 different stories posted with receipts of people sending me their testimonies about my ebook. Sounds basic, right? Protect yourself from bad things until it's you. Until you find yourself in a cycle you can't get out of. But hey, don't take it from me, take it from them. Hey, bestie. I don't think I even have to tell you to get a snack, right? Okay, great. If I sound a little sluggish, it's because I have a muscle relaxer in my system right now. Some stupid kid rear-ended me and my siblings today, and we've been in pain since. But that's besides the point. So for the story time, let's call the submitter John. Now, John was a badass kid as a kid. Like, the ones that don't control what comes out their mouth. The ones that was getting beat by their parents all the time because they just didn't listen. But he learned his lesson from this story specifically. So John was your typical born in this country kind of kid, and he was hanging out with the wrong people, just like, saying disrespectful things. He was one of them kids. So boom, his parents end up like sending him back to their country, because once you get to the point where you're that bad, like, and you're a foreigner, they sending you back. Now, he was pissed because they tricked him when they sent him back. Y'all know how it go. Anyway, so he's back home for about a couple months now, and because he was so angry that they sent him back, he decided that he's gonna be even worse back home. And he was cursing people out. He was disrespecting neighbors. He was like, he was doing the thing. But he didn't know that back home is not the same as America. Ain't nobody calling the cops. They're calling the demons. Anyways, John gets into an altercation with this lady, and the lady was one of his neighbors from the block. And he took full accountability. He said, like, that argument should have never happened. He was in the wrong, but he just wasn't. He was just a bad kid. So as he's, like, kind of arguing with this neighbor, the neighbor's like, I'm going to go to your house and tell your parents or whoever's watching you what you just said to me, because that was very disrespectful. And John fucked up by saying to her, well, go ahead. They ain't going to do nothing. Can't nobody do nothing to me. So the lady's like, I understand it now. And he should have took that as a warning, but he didn't care. He kept, whatever. And then he goes home. He doesn't really tell anybody about the argument, and he's fully prepared for the lady to come and snitch. But she doesn't. She didn't come and snitch. So he's like, all right, I'm off the hook. So he goes to sleep that night. And when he goes to sleep, he has a dream. The dream consisted of him arguing with that same lady again. Only this time, the lady started getting bigger, like a giant. And when she turned into a giant, she grabbed him, threw him so far across the world, he felt like she threw him halfway across the world. And after she threw him, she his back hits like a tree. So he kind of landed like boom. And then he fell on the floor. So as he's dreaming, he, hits the tree, falls on the floor. And that was a pretty hard hit. And it felt so real. Like his back was hurting like a bitch and everything. So he's like getting up, trying to get himself together. Like he's like, ah. And so he gets up and he sits up and he realizes he's still in his yard, but he's under the coconut tree. Like the coconut tree that they had. Now, if you're Caribbean, you know you are never supposed to be under any coconut tree. So he realizes where he is, and it's still nighttime because it's dark outside. And he's trying to like get up so he can walk in the house and tell somebody about what just happened. But he can't move because his back hurts that bad because he just had a hit that lady threw him. So he's kind of like stuck there. He's trying to move, but he can't. So he's kind of trying to crawl his way out of there until the worst happens. The reason why you're not supposed to sit under a coconut tree, a coconut falls on him and falls right on his back. When that coconut fell on his back, he says that's like the worst possible pain he ever felt in the world. And it felt like it fell right in the middle of his spine. After that, everything went black. The next thing he knew, he woke up in a hospital. When he woke up, he was kind of confused on what happened because the last thing he remembered was that he went to sleep. And so he's like asking his people, like, how did I get here? Why am I in the hospital? I just went to sleep. They told him the next morning he wasn't in his room and they found him under that coconut tree in their yard. And he was badly hurt because a coconut tree fell on his back. So he's like, what? No, that was a dream. And they told him, nah, like that's where we found you. He starts feeling crazy because he's like, no, that was definitely a dream. I went to sleep. I know what y'all talking about, but that was a dream. They're like, well, it can't be too much of a dream. We right here in the hospital. Oh, and by the way, the doctor said the coconut hit your spine. And as of right now, you can't walk. Well, they didn't say like he can't walk. They kind of basically told him he may be a little paralyzed right now. And he instantly like lost it and tried to get off the bed to walk to prove them wrong. But he couldn't. He couldn't. My voice been feeling like it's going out too. Just bear with me. Now, before I go on with the story, make sure you got my ebook. I've had testimonies in my DMs. I told the stories of people that legit told me that ebook helped them so much. So don't take it from me. Take it from them. The link is in my bio. It's called Cleansed and Covered. So immediately he found it a good time to tell them about the altercation that happened with the lady. And the people that were caring for him basically just told him like, what did you expect? Like, we could keep telling you about your behavior and how you speak to people and you don't want to listen. Fortunately, you're not in America no more. This is like, for some reason, he didn't want me naming the country, so I'm not. But yeah, he pretty much said that was like the situation that really fixed up his behavior. Because he legit couldn't walk for like 6 months. And he like turned into a whole baby, had to learn how to walk all over again. And that like honestly really humbled him. And when he came back to America, he's a very sophisticated young man now. He don't disrespect people and he's not that bad kid anymore. Hey, bestie. I'm not even going to tell you to get a snack because I don't even think you'll be able to stomach what we're going to talk about. Her name is Twit. She's a young girl from South Africa. And in October of last year, 2024, her mother sent her to school. When you send your child to school, you expect your child to get an education. You expect your child to be protected. You expect that the people that are leading your child to... Anyway, now, Twit just woke up. And when she woke up, she was being rushed onto the school bus. Now, when I say woke up, I mean exactly that. She just woke up as if someone gave her something to sleep. And when she woke up, she was being rushed onto the school bus. Then she realized that she was in extreme pain, like really bad. When she got home, she of course expressed that she was in pain and she's very confused. So her mom did what any mother would do and got her checked out. When they checked her, they confirmed that she had been penetrated. Let that sink in. That little girl, that child, that 7-year-old child was violated. Now, upon investigation, 2 people from the school agreed to get tested and they were cleared. But y'all want to know who didn't want to get tested? the fucking principal. When they offered for him to clear his name, he refused. Now, why would you refuse if you didn't do it? Prove that you didn't do it. Not only that, he has now banned her from coming back to school, as if she did something wrong. A child was violated, and instead she got punished for it, while the one refusing to cooperate is still sitting in a position of power. This isn't just a story. This is a real girl. This is someone's daughter. That is someone's baby. She deserves justice. This has been going on since October of last year. We are now in April. You mean to tell me nothing has been done? So I'm using my platform to say, we see you, Twit. We hear you all the way from the US. We are not staying silent. Justice for Twit until something is done. Hey, bestie. Why are you already eating? Why does this always happen? I be catching y'all red-handed. And then y'all gonna blame me, right, for y'all backs being big for the summer? I be saying snacks. I don't be telling y'all to get meals. Anyways, for the sake of this story, let's call the girl Lucy and let's call the guy Hoodie, because he's a hood nigga. Anyways, quiet girl named Lucy moves to the hood. Prior to living in the hood, she was from her country. And Lucy is drop dead gorgeous. And I mean gorgeous. She moves to the hood. She moves to a new school. She doesn't really speak English that well, so she's very quiet. She don't really talk to people. But she's gorgeous. So she was the new foreign girl that every guy wanted. She was the new foreign girl that the girls are now starting to hate because every guy wanted her. Mind you, she don't even speak to nobody. She barely can even speak English. Anyway, she goes to school. She minds her business. She does her work. She does her homework. She does her tests. She has great grades. If you know, you know. Foreign people don't play about their grades. Anyway, so he gets the attention of Hoodie. Now, again, Hoodie is not the only guy at the school that wanted her. So she has a total of 2 classes with Hoodie. And coincidentally enough, he ends up being partnered up with her on a project. And so he's like, this is my chance. Like, I need to show these niggas that this gonna be my wife. Now, I do need to add that Lucy is dark skinned. Hoodie is black. Like on the brown side, not necessarily dark skin. However, Hoodie had a white ex-girlfriend. Now, she calls herself his ex-girlfriend, but really, it was just somebody that he was talking to him. They never actually were in a relationship or got into one because realistically, he couldn't really see himself with a white girl. Snow Bunny. However, he had this white girl Snow Bunny do any and everything for him, so he was just like, okay, cool. And then when he wasn't feeling it anymore, he kind of just told her like, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. Like, I don't really feel like I want to be in a relationship right now. I'm trying to focus on school and sports and blah, blah, blah. But white girl Snow is Bunny. One of those girls that you try to get rid of, but tries to find every reason to be in your life, right? Not saying what he did was right, but we all know one of those people. Anyway, they get partnered up together. They start working on a project together. I should also add that this project came in 4 months into Lucy moving in. So she knows some kind of English. Like, she knew English before, it just wasn't her first language. But she can actually like hold a conversation now. Because like I said, Lucy is super smart. Anyway, long story short, Hoodie invites Lucy to this pizza place so they can sit down, eat some pizza, and work on the project. And Lucy pretty much tells Hoodie like, no, I can't. Like, my parents are very strict. They don't even allow me out the house. So Hoodie is like, all right, cool, whatever. And Hoodie goes back to his boys and tells his boys like, yo, I was almost in there. Like, I almost had her. I asked her out on a date and everything, but because of her strict parents, she can't come. Now, word is starting to get around. An ex-girlfriend finds out. Now, again, ex-girlfriend is one of those weird girls. She was even emo. Nothing against emo people. But she swore up and down that she was a witch. And which was one of the things that kind of like wasn't very attractive to Hoodie. Anyway, ex hears this and she is not happy about it. This new girl comes in, not only trying to take every man, but her man? Hell no. So she decided it was a great idea to try to put a hex on Lucy. The foreign student, Lucy. Foreign. I honestly don't understand like what... I feel like certain people just don't understand how this works. You know what I mean? Like, you're already... and you want to attack a foreign person? Anyway, so Lucy and Hoodie starts talking a little more though. Like, they text and they get on the phone sometimes. And word gets around. You know what? Let's call the ex Patricia. So Patricia's like, nah, like, I gotta get rid of her. Like, she gotta go. So Patricia does a 3-day hex that she saw on the internet. Didn't really know what the hex was for, but it was advertised to basically ruin what I call her, Lucy's beauty. Anyway, Lucy goes home one day from school and grandma's on the phone. Grandma from back in her country is on the phone. And she's like, yeah, I want to talk to grandma, and grandma wanted to talk to her too. So they're talking, and then grandma tells her like, hey, Lucy, somebody don't like you. And Lucy's like, yeah, a lot of people don't like me. They seem to not really, like, the girls don't really like me. The boys love me, but the guys, like the girls, they're not really a big fan of me. And grandma was like, I spoke to you about this. You're a very attractive young girl. That's gonna happen. However, that person, she don't only like not like you, but she actually is trying to get rid of your beauty. So Lucy's like, huh? And grandma's like, yeah, she tried to put a hex on you, but you know us, like we, like this. Oimbo. Grandma basically tells Lucy, like, you really have nothing to worry about. They, like, you know, she tried. I got the message. I took care of it. But just, you know, be careful. Because if she could do that to you in the spiritual world, who's to say what she would do to you physically? And grandma, mind you, grandma is not in America. Grandma still is back home. So grandma gives her a perfect description of the person that did it. And she figures out who it was. That's how she ended up finding out that that's Hoodie's ex. Not really ex. Now, when grandma said she did take care of it, that made Lucy a bit scared, because if grandma takes care of it. Now, before I go on with the story, have you gotten my ebook yet? I don't care if you're tired of me talking about it, because it's actually saving people's lives. Not my words, it's theirs. However, since I wrote a good ebook that you guys actually enjoy, that's actually helping people, now I'm thinking about writing like a Haitian recipe for just all overall health. I'm not sure if you guys will be into that. Let me know. I will do it. Like for weight loss, diabetes, any type of like diseases, how to, you know, do. Wow, my mind just went blank. Anyways, natural ways to treat them. Hey, bestie. If you're a South African bestie, you're not going to get scared much, because I know it's morning over there. But if you're in my area, it's probably like 2 or 3 a.m. for you right now. Not that I care, though. I'm still going to tell you to get a snack. We're up. Might as well. I got mine. So the story is a little bit different. You know how on TV they have like, when you're about to do something bad, there's like the devil, and then there's an angel, and then you ultimately decide which one you're going to listen to. So let's call this guy Alex. So Alex had that situation happen to him, just a little different. So for a really long time, when Alex was a kid, he was a really bad kid. Like, he did everything wrong in the book. Like, he got kicked out all the time by his parents. He done been to therapy. He done been to rehab. It wasn't until he actually started being a Christian that things started changing. Now, they sent him to therapy because at one point he ended up telling his parents that like he hears voices, but his parents wasn't really hearing him out. Oh, by the way, this story is from Trini. So Alex's parents are Trinidadian. They came here when they were at a very young age. So it's safe to say they're a little Americanized, which is why he ended up like in therapy and stuff like that, which is good. However, with them being a little Americanized, they kind of forget. I don't want to say forget, but you know what? I'm going to just tell y'all. So Alex's grandparents were very deep into voodoo, and his parents know that, which is why they try to like steer away from that. However, certain things are very generational. Apparently, Alex's grandfather on his dad's side, very successful guy back in Trinidad. However, his success didn't come from nowhere. He made a deal with a certain deity to get that success. And you know, once you make a deal, you really can't get out of it. So what happened was his grandfather didn't really end up, I guess, meeting his end of the deal. And so he ended up passing away. However, the way that he passed away, let's just say that the deity was getting their end of the deal. However, ×2, even though that happened, because he didn't really fully pay his end of the deal, that deity kind of has some kind of power over his bloodline, which is why, we're telling this story. Anyways, as bad as Alex was when he was a kid, he used to tell his parents all the time, there's somebody telling him to do these things. And if he doesn't do these things, he's not going to be able to sleep at night because that thing will keep him up all the time. Now, his parents more so thought that it was a mental thing. However, it wasn't a mental thing. Like, that thing would follow him, like he would see the deity, like see him as if we see each other. Follow him everywhere. Go to class with him. Go to school with him. Go to the trip with him. And tell him to do these bad things. And if he doesn't do them, that thing would really beat him up in his sleep. And he'll like wake up with bruises and everything. Now, before I go on with the story, I am writing another ebook. I asked you guys, would you guys be interested in me writing a new ebook with natural, kind of like my first one, but not more so spiritually, but physically. So things that'll be good for like weight loss, some diseases, colds, just the natural Haitian way, the way our ancestors used to do it. Because nowadays with everything going on, all them chemicals, everything is getting recalled. It's time to learn how to do things the natural way. So I asked you guys first if you were interested, and a lot of people said yes. I did start writing the ebook. So I'm going to keep you guys posted on when it's going to be available or when it is available. But in the meantime, if you want to cleanse yourself spiritually, you can go get my other ebook, which I have great reviews on. Even 2 story times of people saying how that book actually really helped them. Anyways, back to the story. So for a long time, that thing haunted him. And for a while, his parents believed him. But realistically, there's not much that they could do about it. Like they tried, praying. They tried to bring him to a pastor. However, some things are so strong that unfortunately not just prayer is going to work. Because there was a covenant made. There was even one situation where he ended up getting expelled from his school because he slapped his teacher. Not because he wanted to, but because that thing told him so. And he knows what was going to happen if he didn't. He was going to be getting slapped that night. That's not funny. Anyways, it wasn't until one time he was traveling somewhere. He was at the airport and this guy just walked up to him and was like, you need help. And he was like, what? What are you talking about? And the guy was like, don't worry, I see him too. And at this point, he's already used to the deity being around all the time. Like he's been living with it his whole life. So when the guy told him, I see him too, he's like, you see what I see? And the moment the guy said that, that thing didn't look too happy about it either. So then the guy tells him, it's possible to get rid of him. It's not going to be easy. It'll be hard. But I know he's been making your life hell and I can help you get rid of him. And the moment he said that to Alex, that deity tries to attack the guy. However, it was like there was this firewall surrounding the guy, so he couldn't. And so that's what made Alex believe that the guy could actually help him. So when the deity tried to attack the guy but couldn't, the first thing the deity did was go back to Alex and basically tell Alex, if you listen to him, I'm really going to end you. And the deity looked like it was very serious. So immediately Alex is like, yeah, no thanks. I'm okay. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm good. And so the guy says to Alex, I just told you I could see him so I can hear him too. I hear him threatening you. But believe me, that threat means nothing. I can help you. I know you want me to help you, so let me help you. Now, at that point in Alex's life, he's kind of used to this thing being, to him being haunted by this thing. However, he's also I wish there was a way to get rid of this thing. And so the night prior, he was literally thinking about it. He's like, bro, I wish there was a way that I could get rid of this thing. And he was thinking to himself, God, if you're real, please help me. Because at that point, he no longer really believed in God because he's been haunted by this thing his whole life. And then they've taken him to pastors and nothing has worked. So that kind of affected his faith. Anyways, I feel like I'm getting off track. So boom, the guy says, I can hear him. Don't listen to him. I can help you. The deity tells him, if you listen to this guy, when you get on this plane, you ain't never getting off. The guy says, I'm getting on the same plane. I promise you're getting off this plane. So Alex Loki starts freaking out because he don't know what to do. So the guy, you know what? Let's call the guy Angel. So Angel says to him, hey, let me pray for you. And upon hearing that, his first reaction, Alex's first reaction is ugh. He done heard so many prayers and nothing has worked. And Angel is no, seriously, just let me pray for you. And if after I pray you don't believe me, I'll leave you alone. And so Alex hesitantly says, okay. And so the guy gets closer to him. He puts his hand on top of Alex's head and starts to pray for him. And as the guy's praying for him, for some reason, he's starting to feel angry. Like, not the deity, Alex. Alex is starting to feel angry. And he actually doesn't even know why. He just started, like, the more he was praying, the angrier he started to get. And as the guy is praying for him, he looks over and the deity is standing farther away from him. Usually the deity would be close. But when the guy started praying, he still sees the deity. And the deity looks fucking angry. However, he's very far away from, like, he's across the room looking at him angry. And that's when Alex realized he's feeling what the deity is feeling. That's why the prayer started to make him feel angry. And so he realized it wasn't him that was feeling angry, it's that thing. So he went down to bowing his head and let the guy pray for him. And when the guy finished praying for him, he opened his eyes and he started looking for the deity, but could not see him. For the first time of his life, couldn't find him anywhere. And so Angel says, how you feeling? And so Alex says, where did he go? Angel says, he's still here. Alex says, but why can't I see him? Angel says, because I don't need him getting in your head anymore. Alex is like super confused at this point. Angel says, don't worry, I'm gonna get on the same flight with you. We're gonna be just fine. And they did end up getting on the same flight. They actually ended up sitting right next to each other. And that whole flight was just like Alex basically telling Angel everything he's been going through with this deity. And Angel explaining to Alex that it's a generational thing. Like, he's not crazy. Now, Alex didn't get into too much details, but basically after that flight, they exchanged numbers, they exchanged information. He went through possibly the worst spiritual warfare of his life. Like, homeless spiritual warfare. And he had to fast for 40 days in order to completely get rid of that deity. But with the help of Angel, he did it, and he's actually now completely free. Hey, bestie. You see my face and you see something in my fork, so you know what time it is. This story time is going to be a very quick one. And this story actually happened in the Bronx. Now, this submitter grew up in the Bronx. Went to school there, all that. The only reason why they don't live there anymore is because they moved away for college. However, this happened to them when they were younger. So one day he's walking home from school, right? And you know it's the Bronx, so he's hanging out with his friends. You know, they kicking it. Now, this particular day, he hung out a bit later than he usually would. Because it was one of his friend's birthday at the time. His family didn't really do much for him for his birthday. So him and his friends tried to get him to celebrate. Like, they went to McDonald's, all that. They ended the night off with rolling a, and they go to one of their friends' backyard. They sitting there talking, chilling, and, And as they're all chilling there, he's on cloud nine. Like, to the point where you stuck. He could barely even keep up the conversation that he having with his friends. Now, the friend whose birthday it was, his grandpa had passed away like a couple months prior. So that really bummed him out. This was like his first birthday without his grandpa. And like I said before, his family didn't really I don't want to say didn't care for him, but they weren't really there. Grandpa was the one that was really there for him. So as they're sitting there, they're gardening and they start talking about family and stuff like that. And then the guy whose birthday, the friend, he starts talking about how he misses his grandpa and he gets sad. Now, the submitter personally never really met the grandpa, but he just always heard about grandpa. As they're sitting there, somebody walks across from the backyard and he kind of walks over to them, but the kids didn't say anything, and this is not his house. So he's like, well, this must be normal because they're not saying nothing, so I'm not gonna say nothing. On top of that, I'm like, shit. I could barely even speak right now, so whatever. So the guy comes around and kind of just stands behind the birthday boy. The birthday boy is talking to them about how much he misses his grandpa. The birthday boy doesn't really react to the guy standing behind him. And then the guy kind of just pets his head a little bit a couple times and then walks away. But after the guy pets his head, it's as if like he got a little cheered up, right? So the submitter is kind of like, oh, okay, well, I guess he did know that guy because the guy like touched him and he cheered up a little bit. They didn't really speak to each other. The whole interaction was about like a 30-second interaction. So about 5 minutes later, he decides to tell the birthday boy like, hey, I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm glad that guy made you feel better. And the birthday boy's like, what guy? He's like, the older guy that came around, he was listening to us talking, and then he like pet your head a little bit, and then that's when I could tell you started feeling better. Birthday boy looked at him, and all the other friends start dying, like they start cracking up, like laughing at him, like saying, oh, this nigga tweaking. We gave him some good. He's like, what? Like, I just saw the guy. He came, he touched you, you felt better, and he walked away. Now, they think that he's trying to troll them, so they don't really like, all right, man, yeah, whatever you say, and they start laughing. They think he's either tweaking or he's really just trying to troll them. He's in his head like, am I tweaking? Anyway, fast forward, they leave. They take the birthday boy home to drop him off, and then they're all about to go their separate ways. When they get to the birthday boy house, the submitter's like, hey, can I get some water? And birthday boy's like, yeah, come inside. Let me give you some water. And they get inside, he gets the water, and as he's drinking the water, he's looking at the pictures on the wall, and he sees the guy that he just saw outside. And he's like, see, I told you I wasn't tweaking. It was him. Like, he came and he rubbed your, he pet your head and you start feeling better. And the birthday boy got super serious and looked at him like, yo, like, are you dead ass trying to troll me? If you are, like, that's not even funny. He's like, no, bro, I'm trying to tell you. And so the birthday boy's like, that's my grandpa. That's the grandpa that passed away about a month ago. And they all just stood there with their jaws on the floor. And he swore to them like he was not lying. And that kind of cheered up the birthday boy just a little bit. Till this day, he doesn't really understand like what that meant. He doesn't understand why it happened. Why was he the one that saw it and nobody else did? So yeah, that's his story. Anyways, I am writing the ebook, y'all. I'm gonna make a physical version. That's why it's taking so long. It's gonna have natural remedies for women with PCOS, children with autism, ADHD, and just like everyday things like colds, fevers, even ear infections. I put a lot of work into this, y'all, and I really hope y'all like it. And I really hope y'all support it. Am I shadow banned? Am I not? I don't even know. But you do have to go get your snack because it's story time. But do you know how our grandmothers used to tell us not to whisper at night? I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe it's a Haitian thing, but I learned from a very young age that you're not supposed to whisper at night. My grandma always told me, don't whisper after dark, or you'll call something that doesn't want to leave. Now, I always followed the rules when I was younger, but I had some cousins that didn't. I don't know what made me think of this story today, but I'm like, I gotta tell y'all. So one of the best parts about, like, that I remember about Haiti was when I was in Haiti, I used to play with my friends, and then when it came nighttime, we would all grab a chair and like sit on our front porch. The wind is blowing, it feels good. The moon is at a full moon. We'd sit, play patty cake, tell jokes, tell scary stories. It was literally the best. Anyway, so it was one of those nights. And it was me and my cousins. We was sitting on the front porch, telling jokes, playing patty cake. And then my cousin start talking about this song that she really likes. So we're like, oh, what song are you talking about? And my cousin starts to whisper the song. And we all kind of like, whoa, like, it's nighttime. You're not supposed to be whispering. Remember Grandma said that? My cousin is kind of like, oh, please. Grandma thinks everything is dangerous. We all kind of looking at her like, don't act like you don't know what be going on around here, girl. So she's like, I know. Mind you, she was older. She's like, I know, but what's going to happen if I start whispering? Like, a monster is going to come out and jump at me. Like, she's being all sarcastic. I'm sitting there like, you keep playing. And so, to be even more sarcastic, she starts whispering even louder. Was I saying whispering this whole time? I'm not redoing this video. I meant whistle. Oh my God. Whistle. I'm going to write it up there. Do not whistle at night. Not whisper. You can whisper. Just can't whistle. I told y'all I've been feeling tired. Anyway, she starts whistling louder, like, I don't know how to whistle. I never learned. But she's going in. So we all start kind of like getting scared. Like, girl, you better stop. We're about to go back inside and leave you out here. And she's like, see, nothing happened. Like, they just be over dramatic. And we all kind of like, yeah, whatever. So we go on with our regular conversation, just start talking about something else. And about a minute later, we hear somebody whistling. So we all automatically turn our heads to our cousin that was doing it earlier. And she's like, that wasn't me. I thought one of y'all was trying to be funny. And we all was like, no, none of us whispered. Like, we're looking at each other. None of us whispered. We thought you did because you was trying to be funny. And she's like, ha. Y'all playing the jokes on me. I get it. And we're like, girl, are you okay? And trying to figure that out, we hear it again. And this time we're absolutely sure it's not any of us because we're literally arguing about it. And I saw my cousin's face drop, like the instant regret. Like, I physically saw the switch. Although my heart dropped too. All of our hearts dropped. But that was a fuck around and find out type of moment. And you could see it all in her face. Anyway, so we kind of all, you know how in the movies when the moment happens and y'all all just stare at each other for like 1 second, complete silence, and y'all all just decide you're gonna go inside? Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So we all just went inside. We like, we ain't fucking with that. We ain't Haiti. We know. And so one of my other cousins thought it would be funny to lock my cousin out, the one that was whistling. So we all got inside, and when my cousin tried to come inside, she closed the door. Kind of like, haha, now you stuck out there with it since you wanted to go and whistle. My cousin that was out there, like, she's knocking on the door like, come on, stop playing. Come on, open the door. She turns around, turns back, and looks like she's seen a fucking ghost. And she instantly starts crying and screaming for us to open the door. And of course, immediately after a reaction like that, we opened the door. When she got inside and she calmed down to finally like tell us like, what was that about? Like, were you that scared? She told us like she knew we were playing a joke. Like, she knew we wasn't going to leave her out there. But the moment that we locked the door and she turned back, she saw a dog with red eyes running directly towards her. And immediately after that, we go and we call our grandmother. We told her what happened basically. She basically hit us with a I told you so and like prayed for us, and then everything else was just fine. But that was just like a huge fuck around and found out moment for my cousin when we were growing up. And I just thought about it today and I thought I'd tell y'all. By the way, I just dropped an ebook. You guys said you wanted it, so I did it. It's full of healing remedies for the body naturally for all types of sicknesses. Cold, detoxifying your body, PCOS. Listen, I put my foot in this book. So I don't want to hear y'all being sick ever again when I'm giving y'all how to not be sick. Hey, bestie, what you doing right now? Of course you're eating, you big bag. I'm just playing. I can't play with you. I mean, the food is in your hand, not mine. I'm just saying. I'm gonna just go on and tell you the story. The story is from Suriname, and I hope I'm saying that right. Please don't cancel me. So the submitter used to live in a district called Para. Don't cancel me. And so she used to date this guy there, and they used to love to sit outside past 12 a.m. And like they know what it is. They knew it was a high risk of seeing, of hearing things like that aren't really there, things that they shouldn't, but they did it anyway. Listen, they're rule breakers. But there was one specific night. We were sitting outside, drinking, eating, having a great old time. And as they're sitting there, they hear a horse galloping. Now, like I said to y'all before, they knew they would hear or see things that they're not supposed to. So they kind of just like waited it out. I know how I be telling y'all, mind your business. If you hear something, no, you didn't. If you saw something, no, you didn't. They know that. So they just sit there and they hear the horse galloping and they waited until the horse passed them. But the thing is, they know what it is. They kind of already knew that it was the regular. They knew it was the invisible horse from the block that was passing the street type shit. I see why y'all be thinking we make this up. Because what do you mean it's the regular invisible horse that passed down the street all the time? Anyway, something told them to just go inside. So they decided to do that, right? They go inside, and the moment that they closed the door behind them, they heard something slam on the door. When this happened, her ex at the time, the guy, his mom kind of like came out and asked like what happened. And so they told her like, oh no, nothing. We were just out there chilling and the regular invisible horse rode by. We minded our business though. And then we decided to come inside and then like something slammed on our door. And the mom is like, yo, how many times do I have to tell y'all to stop doing that? Stop staying out there that late. And the mom basically told them that the fact that they heard something slam on the door is not a good thing. If they had stayed out there for a couple more seconds, they would have been over for, like one of them at least. So yeah, that's the story time. I know it's a short one, but you already like, you was almost done with your food and okay, I'ma stop. I dropped a new ebook called The Healing Book. It's exactly what it is. It's a healing book for like, it has a lot of secret Haitian remedies. Not really secret, but Haitian remedies for sicknesses that you can heal naturally, including regular cold remedies, PCOS, pregnancy, all of that. I worked very hard on this book for y'all. Link is in my bio if you want to get it. Hey, bestie boo. I feel like at this point, we should know that I don't care what you're doing. Once you see my face, it's a snack break. I say snack, but y'all always getting meals, but that's not on me. Anyway, so this story time came from South Africa. So hey, South African besties. Let's call her Mariah. So Mariah lives with her parents and has 4 younger brothers. Her dad is a super smart man. The man is a psychologist. He's also the youngest of 6 siblings. Now, apparently, dad was basically like the favorite of his family, like by his parents, and his siblings wasn't too happy about that, especially his older brother. Like, that man was bitter to the point where he managed to turn all of his siblings against him. And by him, I mean Mariah's dad. So let's give him a name. Let's call Mariah's dad Levi. I don't know. Anyway, Levi's older brother didn't like him so much that like they basically cut him off. Like, and he had all the other siblings cut him off. And when I say cut him off, I'm talking like never invited to family gatherings, weddings. Mariah said she never even met her aunt and uncles. Like, that's how deep they really did not like him. Anyway, so one of the siblings, sister number 2, the second born, she was into a lot of witchcraft. Now, Levi is a devoted Christian. So, you know, that also didn't mix together. Now, sister number 2 also, not only did she not like Levi, she hated Levi's wife, which is Mariah's mom. And the reason being was because Mariah's mom didn't let Levi buy her a house. The entitlement. So basically, the family like cut ties completely. Years go by, fast forward to 2023, Mariah's dad, Levi, loses his job out of nowhere. Mariah's mom was a stay-at-home mom, so she didn't really work a job. Reason being that when she was really young, her parents had passed away, so she didn't really get to finish school. So their whole household income basically came from Levi, the dad. They had to literally move from a nice ass 4-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom house. At the time, Mariah was only 17, so she couldn't really do anything. So at this point, things are kind of rough, right? They're struggling. Levi kind of like starts going to different pastors and start to pray like a lot more. He's like seeking answers. And so one day they're at church, right? And this random woman that they don't even know grabs Levi by the jacket and says to him, "You are being held down by the people you love." Now, before I go on with the story, I did just drop a new ebook, and it's full of remedies for things like PCOS, pregnancy, cold remedies, but naturally, the way our ancestors used to do it, because all those pharmaceuticals, the world is crazy right now. You need to learn how to take care of yourself naturally. I'm not saying don't go to the doctor and don't listen to your doctor, but help the doctor help you. And if you want to do that, click the link in my bio, get that ebook, or you can also get my previous one, which people are raving about. I have story times about where people literally broke spiritual warfare with. I show you how to protect yourself from things like this. Anyways, back to the story. The lady tells him, "You're being held down by the people you love." Mind you, when this happened, Mariah was there at church with her dad. So she's watching this happen and they're both standing there so confused. So Levi asked the lady, "What do you mean?" And the lady tells him, "What you're fighting right now is not in the physical world. It's in the spiritual world." And then she says this to them, and it had them shook because, mind you, they don't know this lady. She says to Levi, "You have 4 sons, red, blue, green, and purple." I'm not going to say their names. "And this is your daughter, Mariah." And they're both like, "What?" They're a little freaked out, but then the woman says, "Listen, I can help you guys." And then told them to follow her to her home. So boom, shit just got real. So they follow this lady home. They walk into a small room filled with like herbs and bones. The kind used by sangomas. If you don't know what sangomas are, well, South Africans know. I did a story on them before. So they walk in, they sit down, and the lady looks at, Levi and says, "Your sister's not happy about your success, and she actually wants to like unalive you." And then she looks at Mariah and she tells Mariah, she asks Mariah, "Is there any dreams you'd like to tell me about?" Now, 2 nights prior to this, Mariah had a dream that her dad had got into a very fatal car crash. But the thing is, she didn't tell anybody about it. You know how when you have dreams like that, you're not supposed to speak on it because then you don't want to put it out in the atmosphere. So that's what Mariah did. She didn't tell nobody. And so Mariah tells her about the dream, and the lady says that was your forefathers trying to protect you and warn you about what's about to happen. Now, at this point, Mariah's dad is devastated because through it all, like that, those are his siblings. Like, he loves his siblings. He could never imagine that his siblings like want to actually unalive him. So long story short, the lady basically told them that they needed to cleanse themselves, fast, and pray. Now, all 3 of those things are in my ebook called Cleansed and Covered. I have 2 story times where people came to tell me their stories about that ebook, how it literally changed their life. So if you think you're going through the same thing, the ebook might be very good for you. Anyway, she tells them to cleanse, fast, and pray. And so after that, when they went home, the whole family decided that they were going to fast. They fasted for 61 days, and then they used holy water to cleanse themselves around that time. And then they continued to fast. And on the 100th day of fasting, Mariah's dad, Levi, he gets a phone call. He picks up the phone call, and the first thing he heard was, "Hello, Mr. Levi. We'd like to offer you a job. Are you available this afternoon?" And just like that, he was back on his feet. The job was great to the point where they ended up buying an even bigger house. So after they fasted and cleansed themselves, everything was going really good. But get this. Sister number 2, the one trying to take him out, the one that was doing all the witchcraft, she is now mentally unstable. She's crazy. She's gone. Like, her mind is gone. Do y'all know how many times I saw that happen? Like, somebody tries to voodoo on somebody. Somebody tries to do voodoo on somebody. It doesn't work. It backfires and they lose their mind. Part of me thinks a lot of the crackheads that be on the street is that. Some people ain't really crackheads. They're not really on drugs. They're just karma, you know? Listen, I don't play about God. I never played about God. I don't play about spiritual warfare because, baby, that's real. A lot of y'all are going through spiritual warfare and don't even know because you call yourselves not believing in that stuff. But for some reason, you just can't seem to catch a break. Sorry to break it to you, but hey, I'm just saying.